going to just start off.
Okay.
Can you explain your personal and professional background and what inspired you to run for U.S. House District 1?
Well, my grandpa was 100, who died when he was 104 years old. He would often express the importance of voting and what it means. It was built on sacrifice, and people gave their lives, and what it means to vote and be a decision maker in your own journey in this life. And then also, I primarily have worked in education, nonprofit, and government fields. And so with that experience, that's what I want to bring, because I've worked in that among other industries who having to hold a couple of jobs,
Right.
part-time jobs. But and then also I have graduated from Stephen F. Austin State University.
Okay.
I double majored in public administration and communications. Then I received my master's from UT Arlington in public administration.
Okay, amazing. And you're one of four Democrats running in the primary for the U.S. House District 1. What distinguishes you from the other Democratic candidates, and why are you the strongest choice to face incumbent Nathaniel Moran in the general election?
Well, as far as my candidates in the primary, I have the most experience. I've been a lifelong Democrat. I was even a 2012 DNC delegate. I've been an election judge, a precinct chair, president of the Democratic Club of Smith County for 7 years, for about 10 years actually. And then among other things, I'm also a member of organizations like NAACP and the League of Women Voters, where I've also held leadership positions.
Okay.
And then I was also president of a national organization called NAVPlug for a number of years too. And then with as far as Nathaniel Moran, I'm ready. I'm ready for. I know it's going to be a battle, but I am ready for it. I've been preparing for this pretty much all my life. I know this sounds cliche-ish, but it is actually the truth. With the things, the organizations I've joined, then also with the community activities that I've participated in and the support, then volunteering for a lot of organizations as well.
Okay. And District 1 has traditionally leaned Republican. How do you believe voters here are ready for a Democrat to represent them?
Because everybody is struggling. I don't care if you have $10 in your wallet or $10 million in the bank. It is what's going on now is affecting every single body. And when you look at the news or even talking to your neighbor, um, it's something going on that's affecting everything from prescription drugs to the water crisis that Texas is in, to immigration policies. It's everything is being affected right now, and so people are just fed up. And there is a time for a change, because we can't have a group of people that are walking lockstep with an administration who is basically not voting for what's right. They're making it politically convenient.
Okay. And what issues do you see affecting people in District 1 right now, and how would you address them if you were elected?
Oh, there's a plethora, but I'm just going to go over a few. A lot of the things that I see now with the civil and voting rights, as far as like the issues with DEI, those programs being dismantled in the workplace and at higher ed, especially where, and I work in higher ed right now. Then also with the voting rights, I've seen firsthand as an election judge over the years the worsening of the voter suppression that I'm seeing at the polls when people come up, and Texas having one of the most discriminatory voter ID laws in the country is abysmal. And one of the first things I would do was co-sponsor the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. And then another thing that I'm seeing is affordability. Again, people are suffering, and we need things in place now, not tomorrow, but now, that will help them survive, because everybody wants the same basic things: housing, food, clothes, and a livable wage to support themselves and their families. So one thing I would really want to do when I get into office is vote to raise the minimum wage. We have got to do better by our people. $7.25 an hour is not going to make it. It's not going to make it. Then with our farmers and our ranchers here, the problems that they facing with not being able to repair their own equipment. I mean, because just think about it. If you take your car to the shop because you can't repair, just think of the cost of that versus a big old tractor or something like that, and not being able to repair it themselves and having to depend on the maker of that equipment is expensive. And my family, they had a farm, you know, when I was little, with the cows and pigs and chickens and things like that, and you know, making it affordable to raise that livestock and feed them, and not worry about your crops being taken over by these big corporations and whatnot. So.
Okay, and East Texas does have several industries affected by things like trade policy. Do you have a position on tariffs, and how do you believe current trade policies are impacting District 1?
Well, it's like it's like watching a volleyball game. I mean, you know, everything is going over the net. You don't know from day to day, which makes it unstable.
Right.
You can't plan your budget. You can't plan for you know the future, where everything changes so abruptly, from the small business owner all the way up to these large corporations. Because, for example, I went into Michael's, one of my favorite stores, the other day, and I saw that that nothing was marked. The prices weren't marked, and they explained to me because of the tariffs, they're having to wait to actually put the label on things. And with groceries, I mean, I like meat and I eat beef, so I noticed the prices of things like beef going like way up, you know, way up. And if you're again making $7.25 for you to get some ground meat, that's, you know, it's not affordable.
Right.
You know, and we all have to eat, so.
Right. Okay. And voters often express concern about federal spending and the national debt. What principles would guide your budget decisions in Congress, and where would you advocate for increased investment or spending reductions?
Well, what I would advocate for is by reviewing the budget that we have now on certain items, because a lot of this has to change, and we can't keep voting. We can't keep voting on things to not protect our people. Can't keep voting on things that are making it harder and harder to get housing for yourself. And we can't keep voting against the interest, pretty much the interest and the will of the people. I've always been taught to definitely take care of the least of these. So with the laws and things that I would propose, it would benefit more of, you know, East Texans, because we are in a rural area. And for example, with healthcare and the prescription drug crisis that we're having right now, and the cost is it's absurd. Because I was just talking to my neighbor the other day, literally, and she has a disabled son, and was telling me that he's been on Medicaid. Now he's not going to ever be able to work, and he's about 30 something now. But you know, somebody's always going to have to take care of him. And the thing is, she said when she went to get his prescription filled, they told her Medicaid wouldn't cover it, and it was going to cost her $1,000 right then and there. So eventually she got it resolved, but just to have to go through that stress to get a medicine that he needs to survive every day, that has got to stop.
Right.
And then, you know, I would definitely be advocating for the expansion of Medicaid, and then in Texas, and then also with the rural hospitals who are here to reopen by putting more funding there and getting more focus on that, and especially not only East Texas but nationwide, because rural hospitals are closing every day. It doesn't make sense that someone has to drive hours away just to go to the doctor for a routine exam.
Right.
It doesn't make sense, because not only are you paying the doctor, but think about it, you have to pay for the gas, and sometimes people have to stay overnight depending on how far they're driving. Right.
So we have life expectancy reports that show East Texas lags behind state and national averages. So you said, I know you said Medicaid expansions and then hospitals popping up more in rural areas. Is there anything else that you would do to improve healthcare access and health outcomes in the district?
Well, another thing, I would propose is having maybe attracting more doctors to the area to open up clinics by either providing them a stipend or have a rotating schedule, in particular areas in these clinics, because you drive past them and they are really shuttered. I mean, they are closed, and me myself being from Tyler, Texas, and growing up in the rural areas, I understand because my grandparents, they would go to the in the back of the corner store because that's where the doctor was, and that's what they had. They had that hometown feel. The doctor knew them when they walked in, and keeping that, common, not uncommon, would be a big help. Bringing those doctors in and those services in.
Right.
Now, understand that some things you do have to go to a specialist in like a bigger city like Dallas and Houston, but a lot of us want to stay here in these areas and don't want to move away if they have to.
Right.
But yeah, that would be some of the things that I would definitely consider when I am in DC representing East Texans.
And immigration and border security remain top concerns for many Texans. How would you approach immigration enforcement, and what reforms do you believe are necessary at a federal level?
That's a very good question, and I'm glad you asked that. With the immigration that's going on now, the process needs to change. We need to hire more immigration judges to shorten the length of time that it takes for a person to become, a U.S. citizen. Then another thing with, I know the big word is ICE, and what they're doing is basically call them to the carpet and either voting to defund them or change their process on how they handle it, because no one, and I mean no one, should have to worry about taking their child to school and getting shot in the face, or asking somebody if they're okay and being shot and killed in the middle of the street, and then also celebrating a holiday. Nobody should have to face that, and you being shot by an ICE agent. That's not what they're there for, that has got to stop immediately.
Right. Okay.
And on the federal level, I would definitely be looking to do those.
Okay. And if you could leave one message with voters, what would that be?
That would be, I want you all to definitely vote for me, but it's going to take all of us to together for change, because we are one. And again, at the end of the day, we all want the same basic needs that we're going to need for ourselves and our families. And then another thing, I want you to know that if I am elected, I will lead with integrity, stay connected with the people I serve, and vote what's best for this country and East Texas, not what's politically convenient.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.